Hi, I'm Rebecca Carner. I am filming this video in the middle of, well, not quite the middle, just after the beginning of a four-part series that I started on the four agreements. And I had decided to tune towards the four agreements in consideration of people spending so much time with one another in a different way due to the COVID-19 situation and the quarantine and the stay-at-home type situation. And the more research that I've done, and as I've noticed my experience as I've checked in over the phone and via Skype and WhatsApp and whatever with my friends all over the world, and while I read different accounts from different people, again, all over the world, I'm learning so much about myself, and I'm considering so many things about the world writ large. This epidemic, this pandemic, has united us all globally in a way that is unprecedented. One could argue that it's unprecedented in a scary and somewhat awful way, and that is true. But a takeaway that I can't ignore is that we are all one. This concept of separatism and differentiation and various nationalisms and all of this sort of stuff, the jig is up, y'all. It's not true, because this pathogen, this circumstance, be it man-made, natural-made, from animals, from space, I don't know. And I don't really care, because it's blanketed the globe. And this we know. And one of the videos that I watched was a doctor giving a presentation on the virus, and he was describing that viruses attach themselves to cells, and it's sort of the, if I understood him correctly, I am not a virologist, that it attaches to basically the waste product of a cell, and it attaches on the outside, and it attaches through various forms of protein, and that then those proteins then mutate, and that's what makes different strains of different viruses, and that's why vaccines do and don't work on some strains, and it has to do with the mutation of the proteins. And then he went on to say at the very end of his presentation that he figured, regardless of whatever percentage of the population got the virus when it's all said and done, pardon me, that he reckoned that any individual who contracted this virus, how they fared would be largely dependent on the amount of metals in their body and the health of the water in their body. Now, I will repeat, I am not a virologist, but this makes a lot of sense to me. I know that we all have resident metals in our bodies from the waters that we drink, regardless if they're well water or municipal water supply, from our food, from our environment. We've all got some metals, some of us more than others. And then the waters. The structure of the molecules of the waters in our body is a big, big part of why tuning, biofield tuning, any kind of frequency work really helps somebody's health and well-being. It's because it helps restructure and improve the structure of the water molecules in your body. And so while I'm going to continue with the series that I began, I'm being urged by everything that I know to be true to do this collective tuning today to improve the health of the waters in everybody's body. The amount of information that I've seen in the last several days about the impact on lack of travel on the environment, the beneficial impact on the lack of travel and lack of commerce and lack of movement in general, impact by human animals on the environment, and the improvement in air quality and water quality all around the globe really struck me. And so in this way, because now anybody who had a doubt, y'all, we're all connected, okay? It's true. We're all connected. Little lines on little maps, it's a joke, okay? We're all connected. So are all the waters on the globe. The fresh water, the seawater, the water in us, the water in people riding on the other side of this rock from us who we have never met, who might look very, very different from us. All of the waters, the water vapor in the sky, the water vapor contained in the clouds, in the various atmospheric bands, all of this, all interconnected. So if the structure of the molecules of the water and the resonance therein is going to affect how our health through this pandemic, regardless of it, whether we catch the virus or not, I really offer this collective tuning with this global community and this interconnectedness in mind. So with that, I'm going to begin. I have been waiting for about 2 days to have the time to do this video, and I got really excited yesterday evening when I knew I was going to have time to wake up and do it today. And one of the concepts that I'd like to lead with, I'm going to start, as I always do, in the Earth Star Energy Center, the Earth Star Chakra. And today, sometimes with different individual clients, when it's a little bit hard to get them grounded, and if they don't really feel like they can tap into their, quote, earth energy, one of the alternative concepts that you can use with them for visualization is to ground to the deep ocean. So because I am tuning towards the structure of the health of the structure of the waters in our bodies, in our fluid body, I'd really like us as a collective to ground now in this initial step to the deep ocean, really as an honoring of how interconnected all the waters on the globe are, regardless of what form they are in. There's a rather well-known doctor, Japanese doctor, I think, called Dr. Emoto, who's done a lot of work around water, and his work captures visually the impact that emotion and vibration has on individual drops of water. And I have seen slides of water samples from Chernobyl that were still deeply, deeply, deeply contaminated. And they froze a drop of the water and looked at the frozen water structure of the profoundly contaminated water. And then the same water sample. All right, y'all, let's take a nice big breath. Whew. Really drop in to the deep ocean and know that our fluid body and the fluid body of the earth are absolutely intrinsically linked. Nice. Whew. Anyway, and then that same Chernobyl contaminated water from the same water sample that was frozen, the contaminated slide where the water patterned in a way that was really discordant and visually unappealing and not symmetrical and whatever, that same water sample was then chanted over by Shaolin monks. Exact same water. And after they chanted over it for I'm not certain how long, they froze some of the water and made slides of the water that had been chanted over. And it made frozen water patterns that looked like snowflakes. They were beautiful. They were symmetrical and sort of fractal in their configuration. So with intention, with application, with vibration, even if just anecdotally, it has been visibly proven that water can be healed. Really overcome with emotion. The fear that people have for themselves and for loved ones and for the planet and for culture and humanity as we know it to persevere and continue is so profound in this moment. I can really feel it. It is so tender and so beautiful. So funny, for all the fear, there is a deep caring that exists in this time that really speaks to the beauty of the human heart. It is so touching and so poignant. It is such an honor and a joy of mine to do the work that I do. I have for years and years now, been pinging tuning forks in the basement of my house in this beautiful home studio that I've made for myself. And in this time of really unconventional transition and shift and uncertainty, I've thought, oh, how funny it is that I don't have to worry about working from home, because I've been working from home for years and years and years now. My life is deeply impacted, but very differently impacted. And regardless of whether people know about what I do or really understand the kind of work that the frequency work that I do with tuning forks, and that others like me do with various methods and tools, now is the time for this work. And it is with such joy that I bring this collective tuning. And really draw it up. So the salination of the deep ocean water is an exact match to the salination of our tears, and if I'm not mistaken, also matches the salination of cranios, CSF, cranial sacral fluid. No, cervical spinal fluid. That's it. Wow, okay, that really that's right. Okay, that made sense. to everybody. Wow, nice. Okay, so to draw up, literally, if you imagine currents of clean, deep ocean water, like from the Marianas Gulch, the Marianas Trench, and really connecting to that and knowing that that same perfect percentage of salt and fresh water, healthy water, courses through your central nervous system, and that you control the structures of the water. Oh, yes. And that you can be afraid but not have it erode your immune system. And you can have concern and care for yourself and for your family members in this time. And you can mourn if you have already lost someone that you know and love. You can mourn in this time and still maintain your charge, still maintain the structural soundness of the molecules in your body. Those two things can exist simultaneously. They can work together. They can coexist. So the first of that, the 4 Agreements series that I started earlier this week was about being impeccable with your word and our transmission. So I am in the business of transmissions, right? I transmit off the end of the fork and I interface with the transmissions off of both my clients' individual bodies as well as collective fields of energy. And words are powerful, powerful representations and a very obvious form of transmission. But one that is invisible, that is arguably even more powerful than words, is thought. How we think broadcasts so bigly that we are largely unaware of the impact that our thoughts have, not only on our physical selves, but beyond our physical self, to the immediate environment, to the community that we're in, to the town that we're in, to the country that we're in, and out and out and out, sort of in concentric circles from there. And it's not to not have real thoughts. Real thoughts run the gamut, okay? They cover the whole spectrum: sad, happy, angry, frustrated, jealous, terrified, hungry, tired, exhausted, distraught, despairing, hopeful, curious. It's all of them. So it's not to cut out a certain department of thought. There we go. It's about allowing them, giving them healthy space and validation, and then knowing that we are in control of how we think, how much we think about what we think, how we approach these things. All of that affects our wellness. And really drawing, again, from this example that nature is mirroring back at us right now. I've heard that the canals in Venice are now clear and that birds are landing in them, like the surface of the water is so natural and appealing that wildlife is landing on it, whereas apparently before animals weren't landing in that water. I'm sure it was just filled with any number of waste and human byproduct and petrol byproduct and what have you. So, you know, those waters didn't have to think real hard to start to clear up, right? They just let it happen. It just started to happen, and then the birds looked down and thought, oh, well, that looks attractive. I can land there. they didn't think, oh, this is inner city Venice, I shouldn't land here. It's just, it looked right, and so they could do it. So we can really trust our bodies to be able to easily house all the feelings that we have and all the thoughts that we have. But we can trust our bodies to reorder themselves in the most natural way, to the most structurally sound way that they possibly can. We don't have to know what that looks like. Our body, water, it wants to return. It wants to order in a beautiful, healthy, crystalline way. That is the nature of water. That is the nature of quartz. These things want that. They are that. It is only through external manipulation that they can be pulled away from that perfect order. So to return to that order, it takes relatively little, if absolutely no effort on our part whatsoever. We just have to allow it. So I'm going to get quiet. You know what? Coming in through just above the collective head, I'm using one of my most beautiful crystals, and I'm sending, wow, right on, whew. There's kind of buffets of heat coming off of the field of energy right now. The working theory behind putting a tuning fork on a crystal is that when you send the coherent and very regular wave of vibration that is created by a certain Hertz fork, and when you apply it to the innate crystalline ordered structure of a crystal and you intend it into an energy source, that it sort of amplifies and kind of piggybacks super uber structure, super awesome uber structure into that energy disarray, so that it can become a more coherent array. Just in the collective head right now, in the sort of top, sort of feeling into the top of the collective energy body. I'm sort of surprised. There's a real sense of exhaustion. I know I, for one, have actually been enjoying a little bit more sleep because my schedule and because I don't have to leave the house in ways that I typically would. It's allowed me to rest a little bit more, and I know that I still tend to wake up fairly early, and when I go out on my deck with my coffee and check around, I know that my neighbors are sleeping later and later because like nothing's moving, and I've smiled to myself every morning, really imagining that people are getting rest that they would have never allowed themselves or couldn't afford to allow themselves. And by this bananas turn of events that we're living through right now, I've sort of been hoping for the collective that they've gotten rest. So many of my clients are chronically under-rested, and I pray often for people for more sleep, and even if you're awake, to have more restful time. And even with this time lately, people feel tired, and it feels more like a biological, like exhausted waters. Again, in this tuning, I'm focusing on the waters. Oh, I see. It's the voltage, right? So, okay, so not only are we, okay, so not only are we working on the structure of the water, we're going to, in this session now, also focus on raising the conductivity. Okay, there we go. Of the waters in all of our bodies, right? Because water is a superconductor. And right, so the resiliencies, yeah, so a few weeks ago, I did a video on cellular resiliency, wherein I was really focusing on the mitochondria, on this sort of cellular membrane, and I'm realizing that it's the waters, that afford that sort of electrical conductivity. Is that a word? Conductivity? I don't know. Whatever. I hope you know what I'm talking about. It's the water structure that allows for that to kind of have enough harumph to be able to not only, there we go, wow, nice. Okay. To not only transmit and receive all the electrical signaling that we need to carry on our biological way, but to also hold that charge. So to both transmit, and then once you've received the information that you need as a cell, to be able to hold on to that info long enough to do good with it. It's all about the water. All right, I'm not moving. I've been trying to keep my videos to like half an hour or under, because the sort of analytics metrics say that gets that gets the highest views and blah blah blah. Man, this this is the best work I know how to do, and I am offering this tuning and this healing, whatever it can bring to whomever and everyone that it can bring it to. I'm offering this, and I am not going to rush it. I'm not going to edit for time. I'm just going to be with this. I'm just going to be with this. And if nobody or only one person or whatever watches this video at any point, great. It's like the thought message circle loop that's playing is conducive to health, conducive to life, conducive to health, conducive to life. Things are going to be uncertain for a long time to come. Months and months and months. I don't love saying that. I don't love knowing that's true. But it is true. So in this time of uncertainty, as we all have no idea what's going on and how we're going to all pull this off, you can choose. Yeah, wow. Really breathe in, y'all. Whew, heart. People's hearts are so afraid. Pitter patter, pitter patter. There's like a tightening in the chest. We can choose to think, what is conducive to health? What is conducive to life? My life, human life, global life, wildlife, water life, plant life. What is conducive to life? Whatever's going forward, what if those were the main questions? What if those were the forefront question in our mind? Not fiscal wealth, not financial, no. Wildlife, plant life, human life, baby life, puppy dog life, kitty life, bird life, fish life, turtle life, whales, dolphins. Okay, some of the alarm came out of the tone and the fork. It was like shrieking. We can craft this. We are crafting this. We are doing this. If you had told me at Christmas last year, at the end of December last year, Rebecca, man, the U.S. is going to shut down. Schools and universities are going to shut down. You will not, in 3 months from now, you will not be able to walk into a restaurant in inner city Atlanta. I'd have laughed at you. I'd have thought, you're so funny. You must have gotten into the holiday spirits real hard. I'd have just laughed and laughed and laughed, thinking you were making some kind of joke. And this is what we're living. Here we are. You know, and how interesting, there we go. Whoo! Wow, just waves of heat coming off. Let the stress go. No, we don't know. Uncertainty remains, but some of that stress, some of that angst can just ripple right off. You know, and the lungs, we think of them as airy, right? It's lungs, they're wind sacs. It's what we breathe the air into. But if I'm not mistaken, in Chinese medicine, the lungs are water. The organ of the lungs is considered of the water element. And that's what lungs do. They are the barrier, they are the vehicle that translates the photonic, chemical, electric vapor air that we breathe, and it translates, the lungs translate what we need from that substance into our bloodstream, right? The oxygen, the nitrogen, all that. So it's the air-water barrier. Permeable barrier is what the lungs are by their function in our biology. And again, so those who have already contracted it and say are asymptomatic or are having very, very mild symptoms, to those who are quite ill with it. The waters, again, this tuning towards the waters is also about the healing of the lungs. All right, I'm going to check in. I feel like we might be getting close to done, even though I did only the two. Nope. I only did 2 energy points. Okay, no, I'm kind of, okay, I got the next steps. Okay, so the next steps for today, I'm putting it at 2 different points on the trunk of the body. There was this real heaviness in the body, but it felt kind of comforting, sort of like that we kind of, I don't know, it's as if the collective really realized that they had a fluid body and that the fluid body was going to be a huge marker as to whether or not we were healthy. And so it's as if we've really dropped into awareness around this meat suit, right? A lot of my clients laugh because I call bodies, the human form, our meat suit. And I do find that largely people are super disconnected from their meat suit, that we tend to be a society of sort of floating heads, and we think that everything that ever happened that was important happened right up here, but we're whole beings, right? And and again, I'm offering the collective body, so all of us, this vibrational hug. At a time when so many of us are separated and so many people are feeling a lot of their loneliness very acutely right now. Oh, wow, and again with the emotion, whew. I'd really like to offer this vibratory hug to absolutely everybody, but particularly those who are so alone right now. May the sensation of this physical, metaphysical embrace soothe you and prompt the serotonin release into your waters for that comforting feeling and the whole endocrine response of an actual embrace and the restorative and health benefiting chain of events that always comes from healthy human touch. All I can do is offer it metaphysically today. So, all right, you guys, that's feeling about as complete as I know how to do right here and now. The tenderness, there we go, nice. The tenderness that I feel towards the collective is so profound. I'm going to wrap us up. I almost always do this twice. I'm going to do this one more time, and I am really enveloping this whole globe, all of humanity, and everything natural in this world. I am embracing you so tenderly and so lovingly. And I am transmitting that tenderness and that love out to all the waters in us and around us all. Well, you guys, I came down to make this video with a very, very heartfelt intention, and I am ending this video with so much love in my heart. It's pretty vulnerable to do this and to put this out on the internet, and it is with such joy and such a song in my heart that I offer this. This is the best work I know how to do right now for the most people. May it bring relief, may it bring healthy waters to the most people that it possibly can through this video or just through my intention here today from Atlanta, Georgia. I love you all. Thank you so much. Be well. Stay tuned for more videos, and yay. All right, bye.